Health Alert is brought to you by OU Physicians in Tulsa. Hello, welcome to Health Alert. I'm Pam Butler. Today we're going to talk about personality and colors, and joining me is Dahran Goudeau. He is a life coach. Welcome to the program.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, definitely. Now, this is going to be an exciting program.
Yes.
Before we start, though, I mentioned that you were a life coach.
Yes.
Explain to viewers, what is a life coach?
A life coach is when someone comes in and just coaches you throughout your life. We all have rough patches. We all have times where good and bad. And a life coach just coaches you from the outside looking in and just coaches you throughout your life.
Okay. Is it a little bit like counseling where if we're having issues, or is it where you may not even be having issues but just want to see how well you're doing in certain things?
It could be both. Sometimes we have times where, you want to be a part and share that piece with someone, and you want someone to be a part of your life, and you want someone to guide you through some of the rough patches in your life, or even to share the excitement in your life. And so a life coach can be various different areas in your life.
Okay, now how young can you be to sort of take advantage of a life coach? I mean, are we talking about young children?
Yes, 4 on up. My daughter is 6 years old, and there's times where she needs help on her homework, and Dad will coach her through that and help her out with that. Sometimes she'll go through phases at school that she doesn't understand friends, and that's when that personality comes in, and to explain what goes on in school on that level all the way up to my age, your age, anyone else's age, to really help them out with understanding, what's really going on.
Okay, now some people may wonder then, last question on this part, with a life coach, is the life coach going to give me my options, or are you helping me to explore what those could be? In essence, do you give me the answers, or do you help me get to the answers?
I do both. Because sometimes it's not good just to go off of what one person says. It's always good for me to allow you, to help you and to teach you how to get to the answers. Problem solving is a big thing that life coaches provide, not telling you what to do, but give you those options.
Okay, excellent. Now, our show, we're going to focus on personality and colors.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about the phenomena of colors in terms of, do you kind of know how it came about where we started looking at personality related to colors? How did this color thing come about?
I think when I was 11 years old, I was a part of a workshop, and the workshop basically talked about your true colors, knowing who you are, learning your personality. And a kid that grew up in the urban areas and low-income apartment area, I didn't understand who I was. I didn't understand why I acted the way I acted, and how come I didn't get along with other people. And so when this workshop came about, it enlightened me on all kind of issues with understanding other people and understanding why I felt the way I felt, and how it works together with teamwork in the family, in the home, at school, at work. It just opened up an open ear for me to be able to learn.
Okay, now there are basically 4 colors, correct?
Yes,
and we're going to go through all those 4 colors.
Yes.
Before we get into sort of the different colors and what they look at like in terms of characteristics, clarify for our viewers to start with, are we as individuals only one color, or are we many colors but maybe in a different priority? One may be more dominant than the other.
Yes, I think that we're all different colors, because we are, we have all different types of things that goes on in our life. We have exciting times. We have time that we want to be romantic. We have times that we want to be excited. We have time that we should stand up for ourselves and be bold. We have times that we should just be, calm and just relax. So we have a lot of time that we can change within our colors. So we can't always just be one person all the time. We're just an array of different colors at different times.
Okay, and so we may have a dominant theme, but we're going to display some of these other threads and colors. Okay, well, I want to start with the color of orange.
Orange. Okay.
Now tell me a little bit about what an orange personality type looks like.
Okay. Orange people are just they're loud, they're excited, they're bold, they kind of just say whatever they feel. You know, sometimes they don't mean to hurt your feelings, but they just have to let you know. They're very outspoken. They're kind of organized chaos. You know, those are the ones that have the clothes all over, or you may go to their desk and they have a lot of stuff all over their desk, but they can find it and they know what's going on with it. And orange is just really just fun, and just they're the life of the party. They're the life of the party.
Okay, now when we look at orange, then all the things that you were saying, what came to my mind, especially for children and teens, and even in adulthood, are risk takers. The people that maybe you say, didn't you think of the consequence before you started to do that? Would that be sort of like the orange personality?
Yeah, the orange personality really has a lot of issues with just doing it and then not thinking about the aftermath of it. Poor impulse control. A lot of times you'll see with an orange person. Just kind of, you know, live their life on the edge. I'm just going to have fun. I'm not going to worry about anything right now. I'm not going to worry about the consequence. Right now, I'm just focusing on what I'm doing right now. Living my life day to day and not really planning for the future.
Okay, so when we think about orange, then as with any personality or dominant personality type, there are going to be pros and then there are going to be cons or things that maybe they need to strengthen.
Yes.
So with the orange, based on excitement, fun, living on the edge, would these sort of characteristics be one that would lead a person to be maybe more creative, maybe artistically or other kinds of ways? So you might see that as a real plus factor?
Yeah, I think it is a big plus factor because they don't live their life within a box. They are no limit, and there's no limit to what they can do. No one can tell them no. No one can tell them you can't do it. They are seek takers. They really push themselves to seek what they want, and they'll find what they want, and they'll just push themselves to do anything outside of that box.
Okay, well, let me ask this question too before we get to break. If you had a child that was a predominant orange, and you're not, and that child is kind of like all over the place and doing all those kinds of things, how should the parent or even an adult in the environment, even if they're in school, how should they approach that child to bring out the real positives that they do have and help to strengthen some of the areas they may need to be more aware of, such as consequences and not being hurtful in comments, but thinking things through? How do we do that?
I think the first thing that we need to do is teach responsibility. Each kid needs to understand responsibility. And if they understand, even though I do this, there's going to be a consequence, and not making the child do, but giving them the options to do. One thing about oranges, they don't want people telling them what to do. They want to think on their own because they're capable of doing that. And so if you would have a child that is an orange, you would want to give them options. You want to not push them in a box and tell them you have to do it, because that's where the behavior problems will start.
Okay, so in doing that, like you're saying, you're sort of letting them come up with options, or you're coming up with several options that are reasonable that they could select from, but attaching what the consequences are for each of those options.
Yes.
And that way, whatever they select, they become more aware of the consequence or the responsibility or what's going to be needed for that.
Yes, and understanding that everything that you do has a consequence, but pending the consequence on the level in which they need to understand that, okay, that there's a consequence, that I did it, but I am going to be able to, you know, still think of my own. And a lot of times that works 10 times better than forcing them to do something that they're really not ready to do.
Okay, well, we're going to take a really quick break and come back, and then I want to talk about blue.
Yes, yes.
Please stay with us. We'll be right back.